Okay, we are going on day 2 of proportion problems involving percent. So your last notes, I guess I should call these notes number 1. Maybe we can number them because we're not going to be doing a new set of notes every day. So these were the first notes where you were just performing straight percent proportion problems. We are now going to move on and focus on application problems. So remember that you are still using either is over of equals percent over 100, or you could use the part over whole equals percent over 100. I honestly think at this point, this is going to be, with the application problems, the part over whole is going to be more useful for you. So we could start, and you can either make an is of sentence, like the notes were up here, or you could just identify which number is the part and which one is the whole, because the percent is actually identified by the percent symbol, so that's nice. So number 13, a book collector has 425 books, 56% of which were published prior to 1900. How many books were published prior to 1900? Well, if you noticed, it says that the book collector has 425 books. So that's his total, which is his whole amount. 56% of those books were published prior to 1900, but you don't know what they are because it asks you how many books were published prior to 1900. So the part, we don't know. We know that 56% of this number were published, but we don't know the actual number. So that's what we have to find. How many actually were published before 1900. So he has if we use part over whole, the whole is the 425 books, those are his entire collection, is equal to the percent, which is 56 over 100, and we don't know what the part is. We know it's 56%, but we don't know how much. So now you have a percent proportion, and if you cross multiply, it's 100x equals 23,800 because of 425 times 56. If you divide by 100 or move your decimal over 2 places, you get x equals 238. Now remember, your part is always smaller than your whole because it's only part of it, it's a piece of it. So when I see my number here, or my answer, I'm going to make sure that kind of makes sense to me. 56% is a little over half. 50% is half of 100, so 56 is a little over. Well, if we're talking about 425 books, half of it is around 212, so it's going to be a little over that number, 212 and a half to be exact. So 238 makes sense because it's a little over half of his books right here. So I'm going to actually make sure I label my answer. 238 books were published before 1900. Okay, number 14. 12, oh, so sneaky to make that a word. 12 of the 28 dogs at the shelter are purebred. What percent of the dogs are purebred? So we know the numbers. We know that 12 out of 28. So 12 is the part out of 28 total. Another way to look at it is your total amount is your whole. 12 of the 28 dogs are purebred, but we don't know what percent that is. So we're going to set that equal to x over 100. And if we cross multiply, we get 12 times 100 is 1200 equals 28x. And if I divide by 28 on both sides, I get x equals 42.8. And I'm going to actually answer the question and say 42.8% with the correct label. And you don't have to move any decimals around. It's already over 100, so whatever this number is truly your percent. You could put a percent sign right next to it. Okay. Bethany uses 8% of her weekly paycheck to pay for gas. If she spent $34.12 on gas this week, how much was her paycheck? So we already know that our percent, could fill out our percent, 8 over 100. And Her whole paycheck is not used on gas, just part of it. So she spent $34.12 on gas. That's only part of her paycheck, so that's the part. The whole would represent her whole paycheck, and we don't know what that is. That's why it's asking how much was her paycheck. So that is where our X belongs. We don't know what the whole paycheck was. And if we multiply, 8 times X is 8X equals, multiplying something by 100 means moving the decimal 2 places to the right because we want to make it bigger, so we know we're moving the decimal to the right, and we have 2 zeros in 100, which means I'm multiplying it by 100. So 34.12 means the decimal goes 1 place, 2 places, so 3,412. And if I divide by 8 on both sides, I get X equals 426.50, which it's a dollar amount, so my final answer is going to be $426.50. And if we think about this, she only used 8% of her paycheck to pay for gas, which means that this part should be, 8% is really, really small, so it should be a really small piece of her paycheck. So it kind of makes sense. It does make sense because her whole paycheck is, we calculated it to be $426.50, and we're saying that 8% of that is really only $34.12, and that is a really small amount. So if our answer didn't seem, if our answer was like, I don't know, $40 was her whole paycheck, it would be a little off to me because 8% is a really small number. Okay. 16, in Key West, Florida, it is sunny 75% of the days. I already know that if Florida is sunny 75% of the days, it's more likely to be sunny than not sunny. 75% of the days is a lot of days to be sunny. It's just going to give me an idea what my answer should look like. So I already have my percent actually, 75 over 100, so I need to figure out what the other numbers represent. How many days would you expect it to be sunny in the month of October? Round to the nearest day. Well, this means days, and the part of the days would represent the 75% of the days that are sunny, and we don't know that because it says how many days would you expect it to be sunny. I don't know how many days, but I do know that the whole or the total amount of days in the month of October is, if I've showed you the knuckle problem. My knuckles are actually so dry from washing them so much, but if you use your knuckles to label the months of the year, it tells you which months are actually have 31 days and 30. So the months that are going to fall on your knuckles have 31 days. So you could look this up, by the way, online to see how many days October has. Halloween is the last day of October, and most of us know that Halloween is on October 31st and that October has 31 days. But if you want to learn this trick, you put your knuckles on the table and you start with the far left. So the first, I have a knuckle right here, you can see, but if I start here with January, February is in between my two knuckles, so January has 31 days, February does not have 31 days. March is on a knuckle, so that has 31 days. So January, February, March, April, May, June, July, I have a knuckle here, and I have a knuckle here. So July and August both have 31 days. So August, September, October. So October is on a knuckle, which means October has 31 days. If it doesn't fall on a knuckle, it does not have 31 days, which means it has 30 days, unless you're February, which you have 28, sometimes 29. So I actually have to put out of 31 days. We don't know how many days out of 31 days that Florida is sunny, but we do know that it's sunny 75% of the time. Oh, 1 second. Okay, just wanted to wait till the announcement was over. So if I cross multiply, I get 100x equals 31 times 75, which is 2,325. And if I divide by 100, I get x equals 23.25. And we know that that's supposed to mean days, but it says round to the nearest day. So it's approximately 23 days. just about. 23 out of 31 days are sunny, which are most of the days. 23 days out of 31 seems like a lot of the days. And that makes sense because it does say that 75% of the days are sunny. All right, number 17. On the high school football team, 62.5% of the players are juniors and seniors. If there are 11 juniors and 19 seniors on the team, find the total number of players. Okay. So, we know that 62.5% of the players are juniors and seniors. So the percent symbol basically is a dead giveaway that you are putting 62.5 over 100. Now, there are 11 juniors and 19 seniors on the team, but the whole team is not just juniors and seniors. 62.5% of the team is. So we don't know the amount on the entire whole team. So that's why our X is going to go here. We don't know the whole. But we know that out of that whole, there are 11 juniors and 19 seniors. I'm going to combine them because we need the total number of players. So the part of the team that's juniors and seniors is 11 plus 19, which is 30. Let's put a little note, 11 plus 19. So there's a total of 30 juniors and seniors out of the entire team, which is comprised of freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. So if I cross multiply, I get 62.5x equals 3,000. I divide by 62.5. Get x equals 48. So 48 players are on the team, on the whole team. 30 of them are juniors and seniors, and 48 are on the whole team. Okay. Last one, number 18. Jenna found that 15% of the Skittles in a bag of Skittles were purple. If there were 60 Skittles in the bag, how many were not purple? Oh my goodness, be really careful. It says not purple. So 15% automatically is over 100 because it's a percent. So she found that 15% of the Skittles in a bag of Skittles were purple. Okay. If there were 60 Skittles in the bag, that's total number of Skittles. How many were not purple? We don't know. But we know that 15% of them were purple. So this X is actually going to represent purple Skittles, which we know we don't need yet, but it's going to help us find the answer. So this X is going to represent how many purple Skittles there are, because this is 15% of the Skittles are purple. So if we cross multiply, we get 100x equals 900. And if I divide by 100, I get x equals 9. These are the purple Skittles. But we don't care about the Skittles that are purple because it's saying how many were not purple. So I have to take my total number of Skittles, which is 60, minus the purple ones, is going to give me 51. So 51 Skittles are not purple. Got to be careful with those problems. And that is it for application problems. I will post these notes and write what the assignment will be for these notes. Feel free to ask any questions you may have. Have a good day.